Coming up tonight on the news at 6.
When disease rates rise, we see more suffering, we see more death.
What Governor Bullock and state health experts are saying about the daily increase of COVID-19 cases.
Plus, Lewis and Clark County opened the last phase of public comment on hotly debated new zoning rules.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 6.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the News at 6. I'm Andy Curtis.
And I'm Marian Davidson. Thanks for joining us this evening. Well, Lewis and Clark County opened the last phase of public comment on a hotly debated proposal to implement new zoning rules in the Helena Valley.
MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports many landowners in the affected areas still express concerns about the idea.
County leaders laid out their justifications for implementing zoning in the Helena Valley at a meeting on Tuesday. But as has been the case through months of discussion, those providing public comment were overwhelmingly opposed to the proposal. The proposed rules would create 3 zoning districts in the valley, 1 urban, 1 suburban, and 1 rural. It would limit allowable land uses and require lots in the rural district to be a minimum of 10 acres. The county says the plan is intended to manage growth and limit the impacts of additional development on things like water use, roads, and fire protection. County staff argued the existing subdivision regulations are not sufficient.
Currently, under our current planning management program, there is no predictability.
The message is clear. High-density development is incongruent with many areas within the rural growth area.
But the county heard extensive opposition from the public, particularly agricultural landowners and businesses. They said the rules wouldn't accomplish the goals leaders pointed to, and that they would put too many restrictions on how people can use their land and threaten their property values. Opponents said they didn't feel the county was giving due consideration to the concerns Valley residents have raised.
It is clear to me the focus of this plan is not growth, but rather to remove growth so we don't have to add infrastructure to accommodate the natural growth.
Your land values, and again I'm speaking to the landowners and homeowners, your land values are going to be affected negatively by this.
The meeting was held at the Great Northern Hotel in Helena to provide additional room for people to attend while maintaining distancing. 100 people were allowed in the room Tuesday morning. Several dozen more were not allowed to enter because of COVID-19 restrictions. More than 60 took part through Zoom. The County Commission has also confirmed they'll take additional public comment at meetings Wednesday evening and Monday afternoon. They plan to start deliberations on the zoning proposals on October 6th. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Several people in attendance raised questions about how the county determined who would be allowed to enter the room for the hearing. County authorities say a plan approved by Public Health, they allow 100 people in for each session of today's hearing. And once that limit was reached, they didn't let anyone else in, even if others left the room during the meeting.
And the City of Helena announced 2 days of informational meetings on the city's 5-point intersections. The intersections are at North Montana, East Lindale, and Helena Avenue. Also at North Last Chance Gulch, Cruz, and Neal Avenues. The city says a study of the intersections will look at safety, operations, access, and connectivity, and consider previous analysis of the intersections. Landowners, businesses, and the public are encouraged to share their concerns. The meetings will be held in person and by appointment only to keep the group size to 3 people or fewer to prevent the spread of COVID-19. For details on how to make an appointment at either the Monday or Tuesday meeting, head on over to our website, KTVH.com. And now with a look at our forecast, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
It is. I've been told to shorten my name. Good evening, everybody. First day of autumn here, and a lot of green on this map. I don't think we're complaining about that. Not the prettiest of days, a little gray in the sky, but at least we're still looking at good air quality. Now, some of this smoke is drawn up from California by this little system going through the state right now. That's not going to stick around here for very long. Tomorrow, look at most of that smoke moving out, and then as we get into Thursday, another little minor front going through, but for the most part, with more of a westerly flow, that will keep a lot of that California wildfire smoke down towards the south here over the next few days. Happy fall. Yeah, the autumn season began officially at 7:30 this morning, and the weather pattern includes Pineapple Express is more typical of a weather pattern that we'd see in this season. And very soon you'll probably be saying, whoa, the winds. More on the full forecast coming up.
All right, thanks for that, Curtis. Nice to see some cleaner air. Well, Governor Steve Bullock was joined by state health experts this morning to address recent increases in daily COVID-19 cases.
MTN's John Riley reports.
Montana has seen a sizable increase in average daily COVID cases since July, with more than 270 new cases in 2 out of the last 4 days.
From mid-July to early September, our weekly number of cases stabilized. Unfortunately, that stability was at about 800 per week. So just over the 2 months where we were stable, Montana added about 70% of the 10,000 cases that we've experienced.
The state has attributed a lot of the recent cases to congregate settings like schools, jails, and nursing homes, while also citing Labor Day activities and social distancing fatigue as significant contributing factors for many cases. State Medical Officer Dr. Greg Holzman said the increase in number is a troubling trend that will only bring more suffering to Montana families, unless more people begin following COVID guidelines like wearing a mask and limiting social gatherings.
When disease rates rise, we see more suffering, we see more death. We see schools that have to close down, not necessarily because of a health mandate, because we don't have teachers to teach or students to learn. We can see businesses suffer as people are concerned about going out and acquiring the virus.
Social distancing and masking up has been a unified message by state and county officials for months, yet cases have continued to rise. The White House guidance to Montana this week encouraged fining individuals not following mask guidelines in high COVID-positive areas. Bullock says he will not be implementing an action like that.
The directives that we've done at the state level have been by and large applicable to all areas of the state. And local communities and local counties and local public health entities can actually be more restrictive, and we'll support those measures.
Governor Bullock says increasing restrictions or fining people ultimately isn't going to solve this problem. It's going to take Montanans following social distance guidelines, wearing masks, and washing their hands. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
Well, September is National Suicide Prevention Month. The Montana VA is encouraging all Montanans to play a role in preventing suicide in their community. Each year, more than 45,000 Americans, including more than 6,000 veterans, die by suicide, and COVID-19 has added additional stress. The Montana VA reports around 600 Montana veterans or active duty personnel reached out for help last month alone. VA staff want people to know that help is available and hope more veterans will reach out before they're in crisis.
I know that when we are going through those situations, it can feel very disheartening, but there is hope and there's people who want to help to support.
Now, if you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out for help. The National Suicide Lifeline is available at all hours, and we have more suicide prevention resources on our website, ktvh.com. Coming up next on the news at 6, information you need to know before you cast your ballot in the upcoming election.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the news at 6. Attorneys for the GOP and the Trump campaign accuse Governor Steve Bullock of, quote, creating chaos on the eve of the election with his decision to allow counties to implement vote by mail in November in light of the COVID-19 pandemic.
But attorneys for the state and other parties to the suit say the GOP showed no evidence that mail balloting will lead to fraud. Those arguments were made in U.S. District Court in Missoula this afternoon in front of Judge Christensen. The Republican contingent filed the suits claiming the governor had overstepped his authority when he issued a directive on August 6th, allowing counties to decide which process to use in the upcoming general election.
But attorneys for the interveners in the case argue Bullock was well within his emergency powers, saying it would create complete confusion if the court stopped vote-by-mail plans at this late date. Judge Christensen said he has a lot of work to do before coming up with a ruling, but says he knows the election deadlines at stake and will issue a decision, quote, as quickly as humanly possible.
Now, 46 of Montana's counties are planning to run the election completely through the mail, but the state says every county will offer some provision for people who still want to vote in person. And the November election is sure to have a big impact on the future of our country, which is why you may be seeing more information ahead of the election about registering to vote.
And today is National Voter Registration Day. MTN's Coulter Anstadt takes a look at voter registration across our area.
From social media alerts to Google's Doodle to good old-fashioned snail mail, a massive effort is underway nationwide to get people to register to vote. And based on some voter registration numbers locally, the effort may be paying off.
In 2016, we had about 39,800, and we're up to 49,000, almost 600 right now.
Cascade County's clerk and recorder expects that number to continue to increase, with a little over a month still to go before Election Day.
Given the political environment, no, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Speaking of the political environment, it's creating a bit of a headache for offices statewide.
There are some mailings out there by the different political parties that are confusing our voters. You know, we have a big job to do, and then to continue to answer the phones and to go through the mailings that people are sending in that are unnecessary. It just adds an extra burden.
Elsewhere across west central Montana, Fergus County has about 500 more registered voters so far than 2016, and Glacier County has about 6,500 registered voters currently. In 2016, less than 4,000 ballots went out in Glacier County, meaning in theory there could be at least nearly twice as many people voting in 2020 than in 2016.
The whole crux of it was mostly for Little Shell members to participate and get registered.
Local Native American tribes like the Little Shell tribe in Great Falls are also seeing a good response to efforts to get members registered to vote.
It's vital that they do vote. Their vote does count. And if you look at a lot of the past elections, the native vote in Montana was basically the deciding or swing vote.
An important message for what is sure to be a very important election. In Great Falls, Coulter Anstadt, MTN News.
All right, back with a look at our weather. Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
Hey, Pineapple Express, sorry, does not mean you get pineapples delivered to your door. What we will have is a lot of wind, clouds, and limited moisture. More on the forecast coming up next.
Weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the first evening of fall here, and some of the clouds and some of the haze beginning to break up a little bit in the western part of the state. 71 degrees right now in Helena. Great Falls, yeah, a little cloudy, a little gray, a little hazy out there. 65 degrees the current temperature there. A little warmer further east here. Clearly a front kind of dividing some of the cooler air off towards the west from some of that warmer air. Still summer. Almost out there into eastern Montana. Here's the little system. It's not very strong, but it is bringing a switch in the wind and then also a switch in the temperatures. And technically, fire's still active here in Montana, although these fires have shown no growth for several days. Be nice to get some rain on some of the fires. Got a couple of showers kind of pushing up in the Havre area, a few south of Lewistown, and maybe a couple of sprinkles around Helena. The radar overdone. The atmosphere pretty dry in the lower levels here, and so not all of this precipitation is reaching the ground, but certainly over the big snowies, we've got a couple of raindrops there, and then moving off of the Rocky Mountain front out across north central Montana, still looking at a couple of sprinkles. Few late monsoon showers and thunderstorms over the Four Corner states, and some tropical moisture moving into Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. No, you don't want it because we're talking 10, 20 inches of rain down there into parts of Texas and Louisiana. So this little system disturbance goes through here tonight. Tomorrow, not a very sunny day, especially close to and just east of the Continental Divide as a Chinook Arch cloud formation develops here. Thursday is the day, though, where everybody gets really windy here with another system coming through, partly to mostly cloudy skies. And notice the pattern here. It's such that the precipitation really falls along and west of the divide. East of the divide, we get wind. Not to say that we won't have a couple of showers, a couple of sprinkles come east of the divide, possibly Friday afternoon, Friday evening. Saturday, may get a shower up here across the high line here, but we're talking lighter showers, not very heavy rainfall. The good news is, though, for Montana, is that precipitation will be heavy in Washington, Oregon, and parts of Idaho here. States that have contributed smoke to our skies, they will be getting some rainfall. Sunday night into Monday, we may get a few showers east of the divide as well before a drier pattern develops by Tuesday. Here's the forecast for tonight: 30s and 40s across most of the states here with partly cloudy skies. And don't worry too much about that air quality. It will be good. Maybe a few spots still lingering moderate air quality into tomorrow morning. And here's the forecast for tomorrow. Mostly cloudy skies closer to the continental divide with a little Chinook arch cloud formation developing here. Fairly mild though. Temperatures in the 70s, even a few 80s in the eastern part of the state. Thursday, here comes this system. Few showers along and west of the divide. Everybody gets windy here on Thursday. It's one of those uncomfortably windy days that will be developing here for a lot of the state. Then heading into Friday, cooler temperatures, couple of showers, better chance up there, Missoula, Kalispell, maybe a shower around Helena here. Not really filling up those rain gauges very much. And then heading into Saturday, a little disturbance might cross the divide and produce some showers out the high line. Very windy here throughout the state, throughout the weekend and into next week. The wind really starts to howl around Helena on Thursday. Friday, a couple of showers mainly in the mountains. Saturday, it's mostly cloudy. Sunday, a few showers moving in late. And Monday, maybe enough rain to wet the ground before we see a drier pattern developing on Tuesday. And for Great Falls, certainly looking like and feeling like fall as we go through Thursday and Friday into Saturday. Some showers late Sunday into Monday, but a drier, warmer pattern will start to push back into the state Tuesday, and that could linger into the beginning of October.
And still ahead on the news at 6, a black bear was captured within the Helena city limits today. How police and FWP officers responded. Coming up.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back, everybody. Earlier today, Helena Police, Montana Highway Patrol Troopers, and Fish, Wildlife, and Parks captured and relocated a black bear that was found inside the Helena city limits. According to FWP Game Warden Sergeant Justin Hockeluck, the bear was originally spotted near Lockheed Park and began moving south on Lambourne Street, where the bear was then immobilized and collected for relocation. Hockeluck said, all things considered, the situation was an easy one to handle, actually, thanks in part to all the teamwork all three agencies displayed.
Pretty much everybody had already established a perimeter, just keeping people from driving through, keeping people from walking through, and they had eyes on it. So when I showed up there with the equipment that we needed, they just pointed right out there. And at that time, it's just waiting until the bear presents a good shot for you to immobilize it with a dart.
Yeah, no big deal, just another day on the job for those guys. Hockeluck told us that FWP relocated the bear to the Granite Butte area near Stemple Pass and said they've actually had some pretty good results with relocating bears not returning to urban and suburban areas. Stay where you are. We'll wrap things up here when we come back.
News leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back. Well, today isn't just Tuesday, it is also Elephant Appreciation Day. A fun fact about elephants, they are known for having an excellent memory. Scientists say elephants can recognize faces and other elephants even after time has passed. Elephant Appreciation Day started in 1996 to raise awareness about the plight of the largest land mammal on Earth. About 100 elephants are killed a day by poachers wanting their ivory, meat, and body parts. That memory sounds nice. I wish I had a memory like that.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, that does it for the news at 6.
We'll see you back here tonight at 10. Have a great and safe rest of your night.